Terrible Africa. Human rights continues as Botswana Attorney General seeks to recriminalize LGBTQ+. On June 11, 2019, Botswana moved toward being a state that no longer held some of its citizens, and by extension visitors, as criminals if they identified within the LGBTQ spectrum. However, the government didn't take too long before it declared its intention to appeal the High Court judgment that asserted that consensual same-sex sexual activity in private was not to be a criminal act. The appeal hearing took place on October 12th. In the hearing on October 9th, a full bench of 5 judges of the Court of Appeal was treated to the government's case as presented by Advocate Sydney Pilane of the Attorney General's chambers. In some of his appeals arguments, Pilane stated that Botswana, and I quote, "do not have a problem with gay people," end quote, yet he based his contention on the fact that Botswana, quote, "respect the court's decisions," end quote. As such, they would not take up arms at court's decision to decriminalize consensual same-sex sexual activity. Pilane maintained that the decision to decriminalize should be left to the Parliament on the recommendation of the courts. The bench was swift to query whether a body of politicians elected by a majority would be the best representatives of a minority that was oppressed by laws that the very politicians benefited from. The Court of Appeal is expected to hand down a judgment following their deliberations in 4 to 6 weeks. However, this remains at their discretion. Now, I honestly don't see how any of this is going to be favorable to the LGBTQ community. You have a majority of people on the panel who are completely against it. It's going to be a very easy reversal for them, at least on that page. I don't see how the community can stand up, toward, and fight the reversal. Mm-hmm. I don't see how the power of their numbers can make it work.
I just don't understand how people can think that politicians should rule someone's body, as in regards to pro-life.
You're a woman,
right? And pro-choice, right? Oh, exactly, exactly. And then also, what happens between 2 consensual adults? Like, the government should stay out of that. There's no reason for there to be a criminalization of that. But once again, it goes back to those roots of, anything that's different, we're just going to be against.
And this is an exact reflection of what you were saying about the previous story, that it's the intrusion of religious fanaticism, and this is the price.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not shocked. This reminds me of Louisiana, Texas, Roe v. versus Wade. I mean, it just continues to go back and forth. Are we going to be pro-choice? It's going to be the same thing for them. They're going to be in this battle for a very, very long time, just as we are here in America.
Yes.
Contextually, I think it's interesting. We've just done this story about this horrible hate crime and murder in Jamaica, and I make the observations where it's rooted from. It's rooted in Africa. Incidentally, I've sat at this table over the last week, and we have done a story on an African country every single show for the last week.
Wow.
It's been Rwanda, it's been Nigeria, it's been Kenya. We report tonight on Botswana. They all have something in common. They have toxic masculinity at play. They have religious fervor and extremism at play. And they have race at play in terms of how the particular race and races of the majority of the countries in Africa feel. And as a result, those 3 things are deadly for the LGBTQ community. And we must stand up and continue to fight in every way possible. The UN has to be involved. The United States leadership has to be involved. The European Union has to be involved because we can't allow this to happen in Africa or in Jamaica. LGBTQ+ news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ+